The Independent Gate. Constructed in 1897, this was an expression of the will not to be interfered by the Chinese Qing dynasty anymore. It was built by the Independence Association in its place after demolishing Seodaemun Gate, which welcomed envoys from the Chinese Qing dynasty. On March 1, 1919, Sun Byung-hee and other 33 national representatives held a ceremony for the Declaration of Independence against Japanese rule and hurrah for national independence 3 times, igniting the National March 1st Independence Movement, the Declaration of Independence. The Independence Association took over the Mohagan, which was a guest house for envoys from China during the Joseon dynasty, and used it as a place to hold political discussions. It was restored as a Korean-style wooden building, and it is currently operated as a facility that allows permanent condolences by enshrining the mortuary tablets of martyred martyrs. Seodaemum Prison was built by Japan in 1908 at the end of the Korean Empire. It was a modern-style prison in scale and was mainly used to hold political prisoners in order to oppress Koreans, who fought for the restoration of national sovereignty. Many independence activists were imprisoned or martyred here, and after liberation from Japanese colonial rule since 1945, many Korean democracy activists were imprisoned and suffered hardships. The history of Seodaemun Prison is closely related to the history of the independence movement in Korea. The prison was one of the most notorious prisons, and many inmates were brutally tortured and abused by Japanese colonial rule. In the Memory Hall on the second floor, 5,000 remaining prison record cards of independence activists who were imprisoned in Seodaemun Prison are displayed to remember and commemorate those who went through prison. In the basement of the Seodaemun Prison History Museum, an interrogation room during the Japanese occupation was recreated. Our independence activists suffered brutal torture and violence from the Japanese colonizers. Poet Kim Gyeongseok, who was imprisoned in 1941, recorded his life in prison in my diary in the prison. Jump up at the sound of the trumpet and run like crazy. You have to jump over the hurdles in the middle of the door and open your mouth. Jumping is a sign that there is nothing hidden in the anus, and opening mouth is proof that there is nothing in the mouth. The day is so hot that the brick wall boils like the inside of a furnace. A pot of shit boils in the room. At night, I can't even stretch my legs. Bed bugs and fleas gnaw through the ooze. But even in this living hell, no one suffers. I can't see a sad light in anyone's eyes. Their eyes are shining like the morning star. The Central Surveillance Post is a facility created in 1923 to monitor and control the entire prison by connecting it to the 10th, 11th, and 12th prison cells. Patriots were classified as special criminals and imprisoned in solitary confinement cell. The solitary confinement has no light or toilets, with extreme temperatures in the summer and winter. It was installed to inflict physical and mental pain on prisoners in a small space of less than 3.3 square meter. This is Leper Colony, which was built to confine inmates suffering from Hansen's disease. You can see over there is the National Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea, which opened on March 1, 2022. This building is dedicated to remembering the history of the provisional government in Shanghai, China, and opening up a new future. Those who were dragged to the execution grounds looked back with sorrows, saw the weeping camellia tree, expressing the agony and grief they felt. It's a wooden building where independent activists across the country, including Seodaemum Prison, were executed. The execution ground is surrounded by high walls, and inside the building there is a rope hanging. This is a secret passage created by the Japanese to secretly export corpses with traces of torture to the outside. This is a separation barrier installed to prevent communication between prisoners and to monitor them. Under the women's quarter, Japanese installed isolation cells and used them to interrogate and brutally torture independence activists. This is a dossier created by Japanese police in 1925 to track down the resistance leader, An Chang-ho. This is a card created by the Japanese in 1927, depicting the appearance of independence activist An Chang-ho at the age of 55. It states that he was arrested in Shanghai, where the provisional government of the Republic of Korea was located. This is a card created in 1937 at Seodaemum Prison, depicting the appearance of An Chang-ho at the age of 60. Due to repeated imprisonment and torture, An Chang-ho was physically exhausted by the time he was released on parole in December 1937, thanks to petitions from many people. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1938. If the independence activists such as An Chang-ho, Yu Guan-sun, Song Jin-woo, and Yoon Bong-gil had seen the dazzling development of Korea today that the world envies, they would have undoubtedly been very happy.